people think if I get into HR, there's no job. I can just take my salary and go home. Nobody in this world has achieved without hard work. We ensure he or she joins the company and then we do the background verification. Young professionals, young students are very, very unprofessional. You commit yourself and stick to it. Corporate needed or corporate ready. Textbooks don't give you a proper job. When you get an internship without payment, I think you should take it up because you're learning a lot from the corporate companies. It's hands-on experience that you're getting. If you're having a job, even if you don't get 1 rupee as an increment, it's a bonus. That itself is a bonus today. Finding jobs is becoming so much more challenging.
హాయ్ నమస్తే, వెల్కమ్ టు ఐటీ టీవీ. ఈరోజు మన స్పెషల్ గెస్ట్ శ్రీలతా శంకర్ గారు మనతో ఉన్నారు. మోర్ దెన్ 2 decades హెచ్ఆర్లో వర్క్ చేసి హెచ్ఆర్ లీడర్షిప్ రోల్స్లో వర్క్ చేయటమే కాకుండా తను ఒక ప్రొఫెసర్, టీచర్, అలాగే కెరియర్ కోచ్, స్పీకర్. సో ఇన్నిట్లో ఎక్స్పీరియన్సు, ఎక్స్పర్టైజు ఉన్న శ్రీలత గారు మనతో ఉన్నారు. మనందరికీ కెరియర్కి ఒక బెస్ట్ బిగినింగ్తో ఎలా స్టార్ట్ అవ్వాలి, అలాగే కెరియర్లో మంచి గ్రోత్ కావాలి అనుకున్నప్పుడు ఎలాంటి ప్రాక్టీసెస్, ఎలాంటి మెథడ్స్ ఉంటాయి, ఇలాంటి అన్ని సజెషన్స్ మనం తీసుకునే ప్రయత్నం చేద్దాం ఈ ఇంటర్వ్యూలో. హలో మేడం, వెల్కమ్ టు ఐటీ టీవీ.
Good evening, Ramakrishna. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is Srilata Shankar, as Ramakrishna introduced me. I come with 24 years of experience. I worked in the HR domain. I'm a HR professional. I have worked in all facets of HR, including recruitments, compensation benefits, performance management system, training and development, competency mapping, change management, etc. I started my career with back-end operations. I moved to HR and I've been working in HR for the last 21 years now. In the HR aspect, I have dealt with all facets of HR, like I mentioned. I also teach HR in MBA colleges, management colleges. I also teach soft skills in management colleges, engineering colleges, and corporate companies. My journey with teaching, along with my corporate job, started about 13 years back. And today it's definitely become my passion. Along with teaching and my corporate job, I also do content writing for a few companies these are companies with friends who are working in those companies who wants me to write content for their website or their manuals. This is not really a requirement that comes very often, but whenever it comes, I do write for them. I also have been writing poetry for the last 5 years. So if you ask me what is my passion, Ramakrishna, these are 2 of my passions, teaching and poetry writing. There are things that I want you to understand, new students and new young professionals who are entering into the corporate world, to understand that you have to constantly build your skills in the context of your career, your professional career. Also build a lot of other skills. It could be, for me it was teaching and poetry writing. For you it could be learning, singing, dancing, gardening, baking, painting, sketching. I would suggest you to develop these skills, and that could give you a lot of impetus or a lot of interest in building your career. So now Ramakrishna, you may ask me saying, what is the connection between your interest, passion and your career? There may be no connection whatsoever, but the skills that you're developing for me it was teaching and poetry writing, that has helped me not only train my own employees, but it's also helped me understand what are their requirements, how they need to upskill, how they need to reskill. I constantly coach them and give them a lot of inputs on how to upskill them, upskill their techniques, their training, professional careers. For example, in the technical world, in the IT world, there's constantly a requirement for learning and upskilling their career path. The reason I say this is technology is constantly evolving. What happened in 2 months back, it's obsolete now.
Before we going to the detail about the technologies and transformations, we start with the basics. In general, anyone thinking about HR is a comfortable job. They don't have a major challenges. They simply enjoy their life. So what do you say on that? Is there any really challenging things?
Absolutely, it is challenging in its own way. This is a concept or thought process which people think if I get into HR, there's no job. I can just take my salary and go home. It's so wrong thought process because HR is primarily involved in getting people into the organization, building their capabilities, building their competencies. They're involved for salaries. Let's say you, Ramakrishna, you join my A company and I don't give you your salary, you're not going to be happy. So they are involved in performance appraisals, compensation benefits. Compensation leads to your salaries. So if I give you a particular salary for the year, and you're happy doing a job, but if I continue giving you the same salary for the next 5 years, you're not going to be happy. So you need an increment, you need a promotion. I just joined as a junior executive. Am I going to be happy for the rest of my life? No, I want to become a vice president in, let's say, 15 or 20 years. For me to become a vice president in the next 20 years, I need to develop my skills. One is skills. Next is, as I'm growing in the corporate ladder, I need to manage teams. How do I build those team management skills? How do I manage customer relation skills? Because we're all dealing with clients or big customers. So I need to engage with them. I need to understand how to get the business. I may not be involved in sales, but I need to understand how the business grows and accordingly how I can grow. I can grow as an individual. When I grow into the hierarchy in terms of team leader, team manager, how I manage my teams, how I ensure my team also grows in the organization. So these things are very important. So HR is definitely a very, very challenging job, very, very interesting job because you're constantly interacting with external vendors, external customers who are your candidates, prospective candidates, and your internal employees. Internal employees are again your customers, your internal customers. So you're dealing with a lot of people. Like for example, I've got the weirdest of questions, ma'am. My teammate, my college mate has traveled abroad 3 times, but I have not traveled abroad. I am working in Java. He's working in SAP. He's gone to US and UK thrice. Why am I not going? So it is a technology which is probably more sellable. So he's able to get into that project and he's going. That doesn't mean you do not have opportunities. You should be able to build your skills in Java. Because Java itself is a very exhaustive technology. So you build your skills in Java and maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, or maybe 6 months down the line, you will definitely travel abroad. So we are getting a lot of questions, how I can grow, what are the things that I should do to ensure that I am able to grow in my career. Like I said, I want to become a vice president, but there will be nobody in this world has achieved without hard work. So you have to put in your hard work. You have to ensure that you constantly upskill, constantly reskill, understand what is the requirement of the job, work in tune with the mission and vision of the company, and there is definitely going to be growth. You can't just, yes.
As you said, there are many challenges and many works involved in HR for any business success. So to begin with, in the recruitment particularly, what kind of challenges you face? Not only you, in general, major HRs.
So the challenge that we face initially is a lot of young college students give a lot of wrong information in their CVs. For example, an engineering student or a management student may have studied in ABC college, may not have passed their exams. So they say, I finished my engineering or I finished my BCom, BSc. When we do a background check, they go back to the university and say, we have that candidate has failed. So that is one challenge because we finish the entire recruitment process. We ensure he or she joins the company and then we do the background verification. then we lose out on 15-20 days of time, and a lot of money also has been involved. The second thing is, again, I find young professionals, young students are very unprofessional. What I mean by that is they take the offer from one company, and they start looking out for better opportunities or better salaries. I wouldn't say opportunity, but better salaries from different other companies. I think it's very wrong for young professionals like you to be doing this, because once the reputation is spoiled or your reputation is not very good, then most companies will not even recruit you. So I think it's, as young professionals, there are plenty of opportunities for you to earn all the lakhs, but once you've committed to a company, to tell them that I'm joining a company, stick to it and don't shop around. Don't say, XYZ company is giving me 1 lakh more, so I want to take up that offer. Therein, your reputation is not very good. The third thing is, people take up the offer, tell them that, like, let's say I'm joining on the 1st of August, and till the 1st of August, they're constantly telling the HR department that I am going to join, I am going to join. On the 1st of August, they don't turn up in the company. They don't turn up to the company. Why do they do that? Because they've got another offer. And I think, again, that's very unethical. Ethics is very important for an individual to ensure that you build your personality, persona, your career on your ethics. If you don't have ethics, then, like I said, most companies, today you may get a job, tomorrow you will get another job, but down the line, people will not even recruit you. So I think it's very important to ensure that you commit yourself and stick to it.
So as a HR, you come across all these things. From the student perspective, they always think that my resume is not getting shortlisted. How I can improve my resume? So what kind of things I need to update myself so that I will get shortlisted for the most of the interviews is their concern.
Wonderful question, Ramkrishna. Herein, I have always been teaching for the last 13 years, like I mentioned. I have always ensured that when I teach, I teach them which related to corporate companies, what is needed for the corporate jobs. I don't teach them only based on the curriculum. The reason being, once they know what the corporate companies need from a student, it's very easy to get a job. Or I wouldn't say easy to get a job, it's easy to clear interviews. Once you clear the interviews, you're obviously going to get a job. So I would suggest, and I would really request the colleges to build in a lot of curriculum which is corporate needed or corporate ready. I repeat, corporate needed or corporate ready. Because colleges, the textbooks alone are not sufficient for you to get a job. So I think the colleges should equip the students which is required by the corporate companies. Even the curriculum, even the subjects should be not just performance management system, HR, in the whole of HR, different subjects of finance or marketing. I think what is required is, while you teach HR and finance and marketing, it should be related to what the corporate companies are requiring.
In recent times, most of the colleges are focusing on bridging the gap between academics and corporate. So that way we can appreciate most of the colleges. So still, how can a student can understand what is the requirements of corporate? How can he get that kind of exposure?
These days, most colleges ensure that every student, every management student, engineering student, go through the internship. I think for the engineering students is in the 3rd or 4th year. 4th year and not 4th semester, they do a 2 months internship, 3 months internship. For management students, it's as they get into the 2nd year, between the 1st year and the 2nd year, the summer holidays, they don't get holidays, they get into internship. Their 2 months is 8 weeks. They do understand what the corporate companies require and they kind of learn about it. But beyond that, the internship is very good. Most of the internships are being paid these days. Some of the internships companies they don't pay, but don't as students please don't think money is important at this stage of learning. When you get an internship without payment, I think you should take it up because you're learning a lot from the corporate companies. It's hands-on experience that you're getting. The second is the colleges today are understanding what is the requirement of soft skills. Some of the colleges are doing their soft skills program in the third and fourth year for engineering students and the second year for the management students. But I would suggest that they have not just a 1 month curriculum or 1 month program, but an entire curriculum. The whole of fourth year can be, along with your engineering students, should be the soft skills program also. Similarly for the management students, the whole of second year, that's the whole 9 months or 10 months of their study should be the soft skills also. The reason I say that is like Ramakrishna mentioned, most of the students are very good technically and they know their questions, they know the answers, but they don't know how to present it, and that's where they are not able to clear the interviews. Again, soft skills, when I say, it's not just interviews, but how do you write your CV, how to face interviews, what questions to answer, what questions to ask. Everything is very important. I do a corporate to campus to corporate orientation. Such orientation, such programs should be given to all students by all colleges.
So yes, madam, as you said, these kind of programs will help them to understand the corporate culture. So somehow they got placed in a corporate company. After getting a job, still getting a job is the challenge. After getting the job, adapting to that culture, that collaborative environment, teamwork, these kind of things is the challenging for any student who coming from the colleges to corporate world. So how can he quickly adapt to that corporate culture or otherwise culture particular to that company where he joined?
Yeah, great question again. What I would suggest and recommend is before you enter the interview phase, before you enter the interview phase, I would suggest you start, because most of the colleges today are doing campus placements. So when you know which company is coming for the interviews, I would suggest that you go through the company's websites, understand what the company is doing. Because once you know what the company is doing, and there are many times when I myself have asked the questions to candidates saying, do you know anything about the company? Or what do you know about the company? They say, I'm sorry, I don't know anything. So this is itself a first step saying what is the student. The student doesn't even know where he's entering or what the company is doing. So I think it's important for you as a student to understand which company you're going to the interview for and to do your homework as to what the company is doing, what are the products that they're developing, what are the services they're giving. If it's an IT company, what are the product or services, and which are the partners, who are the customers. Obviously it will not be given in the website as to what the turnover etc. is. You don't need to know that, but you need to know what the company is doing, what is his career path, what is the growth of the company, etc. So therein where the company knows, yes, the candidate has done his homework and she is a much smarter candidate than 10 other candidates. So that is one point. The second point is, once you enter the company, it's very important to adapt yourself to the environment and also adopt to the environment. Today we are all working in teams. Also we are working in hybrid work atmosphere thanks to COVID. We are all not all the days going to work. We are sometimes working from home. That being the culture today, we need to ensure that as managers, we need to ensure the team members are working as one unit and not as different silos, different individuals. Because we are all today, whether it's a small team of 2 or 3 members or a team of 150, 200 members, we are all working as team. So I think it's important from the CEO level to the junior most executive to understand the percolation of information. The CEO should percolate all the information. Yes, he wouldn't be interested or he wouldn't want to percolate the most confidential information, which is understood. But all the rest of the information which the company is doing and what the company is doing should be known to the junior executive, junior most executive. So from the new employee's perspective, he or she should cut down egos, cut any attitudes. I always say this to all my students: throw the attitude and ego into the dustbin and join the company. If you join with a lot of attitude, nobody is going to tolerate you. So cut your attitude, be one of the best employees, take a lot of initiatives, even if it's an employee event, not necessarily just an HR job, but if they are having an employee event, take those initiatives, tell them that I can do this. I can organize, I can help plan, I can help small things like, let's say a Diwali function is happening, and if you're good at Rangoli or if you're good at organizing something or a painting exhibition or something, you can take up those initiatives and do it. In terms of a corporate job, if you're good at writing, start writing a manual for whichever job that you're doing, not necessarily just HR. If you're joining a company and working in the SAP, .NET, data science, etc., start learning various technologies and build a manual. Once you do take up a whole lot of initiatives and doing a good job also, and being on time, not having attitudes, not having arrogance, I don't see why you cannot grow in your career. And before you realize, 20 years would have gone by and you would have been the vice president.
Wonderful tips, madam. When we know about the detailed information about the company, we will become a familiar.
Absolutely.
Then after, if we keep our egos and attitude aside, then we can comfortably work around with all the teams.
Work with anybody.
Work with anybody. Absolutely. So that's great. So next, when we work in a team, definitely there will be a conflicts. It will arise. Sometimes they have to agree. So how can they manage these kind of conflicts?
Again, a wonderful question. Like Ramakrishna just mentioned, even if there between your own sisters, your own siblings, there is something you will say something that your sister or brother or parent may not even agree to it. So there is conflict even at home. But how you deal with conflict at home is very different from how you deal with conflict or I wouldn't want to use the word conflict also. A little hitch here and there also could rub shoulders. So what you do at home, I can tell my brother, oh, shut up, but you can't tell that to your colleague or your peer, or definitely not your superior, even your junior, you cannot say that. So understand what the problem is, and I would, as a leader, I would think that it is very, very important to cut it or nip it in the bud. As the old adage goes, you have to nip it in the bud. Let's say Ramakrishna and I am having some difference of opinion. I should sort it out with him then and there. If he agrees with me, with my point of view, great. If he doesn't agree with my point of view, we should come to a neutral point and say, yes, you are right in your point, I am right in my point. Let's not have a,
let us agree to disagree.
Let us agree to disagree, absolutely. And let's not build up the small issue, let's not make a mountain out of molehill. That's very important. In case you are having a problem which is not being solved, let's say Ramakrishna and I, again I'll take the example. We had a small little issue, we sorted it out. Second time it's happening, third time it's happening. Now second and third time is not just a small issue, it's becoming a little bigger. So what I need to do is sit down with him, understand what is the issue. Is it a problem from my end? Because we all love to say, I am perfect. The other person is wrong. We are not perfect, please understand. We have hundreds of weaknesses, hundreds of problems, which we don't think we don't have it. So it's important for me to understand why he's having a problem with me. Once I understand that there is a problem with me also, then I will be able to understand his perspective better. Then when I say, okay, I hear him out. We all also don't do one thing we don't do is we don't listen to the other person. Let me listen to what Ramakrishna has to say about the issue. Once I'm able to understand the issue, then it's easy to solve the problem. The second is, in case you're dealing with various other teams, let's say for me it was this example, it was just Ramakrishna and me. If you're dealing with 3-4 others, sort it out, sit, or take them out for a coffee, take them out for a pizza, sit and say, hey, and probably you don't have to do it at office, because office atmosphere is very different from outside atmosphere. Take them out and say, what is the problem, what is the issue, and tell them, again, speak to them, cutting down all your egos, cutting down your arrogance. Because once I say I am perfect, then your ego comes into play. But when you're wanting to listen, like I said, Ramakrishna, I must listen to what he has to say. Then when you're willing to listen, then you're wanting to correct yourself. So when I'm correcting myself, I don't see there is any conflict. The third aspect is, your boss can have problems with you. Your reporting manager can have problems with you. Again, sort it out with him. In case you're not able to sort it out with him, go to the reporting manager's reporting manager and tell him this is the issue. Because there are sometimes, it's not just a conflict between a reporting manager and an employee or a team member. It could be a sexual harassment. It could be a bias, because let's say Anil is my manager and Ramakrishna's manager. I am doing a good job, so is Ramakrishna, but he's giving more preference to only Ramakrishna and not me. So if this continues, you talk to him first. If this continues, then go to the reporting manager's reporting manager and tell him, and go when you're complaining or projecting. I wouldn't even want to use the word complaining. If you're projecting an issue of reporting manager's reporting manager, I would strongly advise you to go with proper data. I can't say Ramakrishna screamed at me. Ramakrishna is not giving me enough opportunities. I have to go with correct data. Unless you go with correct data, your reporting manager is not going to entertain you.
So very clearly explained, and you touched each and every dimension of these conflicts to overcome. So anyone who follows these guidelines, definitely they don't come across these conflicts. So when everything is going well, he will start thinking about, I am not getting the recognition, I am not getting the appraisal, I am not getting the promotion. This kind of thought process will start.
Absolutely.
So as an HR, how do you handle, or what kind of suggestion you give?
Before I give the suggestion, I would want to say that everybody is required to do their roles and responsibilities to the 100% of their capability. Every company gives KRAs. What is KRA? Key result areas, or roles and responsibilities in other words. Now, when I am performing my roles and responsibilities according to what the company is requiring, and also taking initiatives and being the best team member, I may be working in a small team or a big team, but I should be contributing not just to the company's goals, not just to my goals, but the team's goals also. So if the team is given a task, I should be able to contribute as much as my colleagues. So when I am doing all these activities, I don't see why I shouldn't get a promotion, or why I will not get a promotion. I wouldn't even say should not, why I will not get a promotion. There are times when I think I'm doing a good job, but your doing a good job is not matching the requirement of your role or the team manager's requirement of you to how you function or the company's goals. So if that is happening, that's where you don't get a promotion or increment. So what is important is A, understand what your roles and responsibilities are. B is constantly be in touch with your manager, because there are times when your manager does not work in the same location as you. Second is, you don't, because of whatever reasons, let's say Ramakrishna is my senior, he has not had a good relation with Anil. So Ramakrishna is giving me a feedback saying, oh, Anil is a horrible manager. So I have that in my mind. So I'm always going to say that Anil is a bad manager. I'm getting, that's playing on my mind. So I don't approach him. I don't interact with him. I work in silos. So when you don't interact with your team manager, manager also doesn't interact with you. So that's a big handicap for any employee as a junior executive or a vice president level. It is important to constantly be in touch with your manager, interact with your manager, tell him the initiatives that you want to take. Some of the initiatives that you want to take may not be in correlation with what the company is doing or what the company wants to do. So it should be important to tell them that, I want to take this initiative. What is your opinion? Most of them will say yes, go ahead. Like I said, some of them may not match what is the requirement. Then the manager will say this is not a good idea. So when the manager says it's not a good idea, you should not take it upon yourself and become very sensitive and cry and things like that. Because I think it's a good idea, but the manager thinks that it's not such a good idea. Then what happens is then I start becoming emotional. I start saying, oh, he's biased. So look at it objectively. Don't look at it as a very, very childish manner. Look at it objectively and say, yes, this manager said this point of view is not right. Let me work on something else. So take a lot of initiatives. If the manager is being extremely biased, despite all the interactions that you've had with your manager, then go to your skip level, that is your manager's manager, and tell him what is the problem. Don't get emotional, don't get sensitive, don't let ego and arrogance fall into the play or come into the picture. Once you have these thought processes, I don't see there should be a conflict. Second is supposing 2023 you don't get an increment or promotion. There's lots of companies today are finding a lot of challenges in terms of keeping people itself. What I mean by keeping people is lots of companies are laying off people. So if you're having a job, that itself is great, even if you don't get an increment. And Ramakrishna is smiling, he agrees with me. If you're having a job, even if you don't get 1 rupee as an increment, it's a bonus. That itself is a bonus today, because finding jobs is becoming so much more challenging. Second thing is, if you're not getting a promotion or an increment, a promotion is a little far-fetched, but even if you're not getting an increment in 2023, speak to your manager as to saying why I didn't get an increment. What are the reasons? I've done A, B, C things. Despite the fact that I've done 10 things, I've not got an increment. He will give you an objective report saying you did this, but it didn't match the requirement of the company. This is what is required of you. And as you're climbing the corporate ladder, your requirements, your professional requirements of how you do your job is going to be increasing, and it's going to be multifold. So if you're not able to grow in that aspect, you will not be able, your job that you're doing may not match the requirement of the company. So it's very important to constantly interact with your managers, find out what you should do, what you should not do, how I can improve myself, because that's where it starts, right? If the minute I start telling myself, hey, I need to improve, that's half your battle is won.
So any employee looking for the training opportunities, there will be a regular standard training procedures, but if he want to grow in his career, there will be some special kind of trainings, but everybody may not get those opportunities. So how to grab those opportunities?
You're asking too many good questions. The training opportunities are given to all employees. Some of the opportunities are given only to certain employees. You're absolutely right on that. But that's where you have the initiatives that you take as an employee will come to the fore. Because if you're not taking initiatives or you're not doing a good job, I'll again take the example of Anil, Ramakrishna, me working in one team. If I'm not doing my job completely, 100% of my job responsibilities, or if I'm not taking initiatives, I'm being arrogant and rude to my colleagues, I'm coming in late every time, the trainings will not be given to Srilata, it will be given to Ramakrishna, Anil, etc. So if And also training opportunities can be given, learnt by yourself. I mean, the subject can be learnt by yourself and you can teach your own team. Therein, where what's happening is, let's say Ramakrishna has learned something on Java and on his own from .NET, from the internet, or from going to a particular college. So what he's doing is, next day or 1 week later, he's coming and teaching the team. So what is our manager, let's say Manoj is my manager, what does Manoj see? Ramakrishna is taking a lot of initiatives. Not only that, he's taught something on his own, he's learned something on his own, and he's teaching the team. So I'll give him more opportunities, I won't give Srilata. So it's very important to grab the opportunities as and when it comes. And if you're not getting the opportunities, let's say your manager is biased, then go speak to your manager and tell him, I also want to be trained on this particular aspect. If you're not getting trained, let's say in the first 6 months, build those skills on your own and go and tell them that I want to be trained in this aspect. So let's say again Java, Ramakrishna and me are working on a Java project. He is using particular logic, particular algorithm, and I'm using a different algorithm. So I need to understand what are the algorithms that I'm using, I need to do for the project. So these are some of the aspects which will help the training to be given to me also.
So we have to show our senior managers like how we will be helping the other teams.
Absolutely, and your own skills.
So that they can encourage us to these training up.
Absolutely.
సో రీసెంట్ టైమ్స్లో ఎక్కువ మంది ఎంప్లాయీస్ ఏమని ఆలోచిస్తున్నారంటే ఎన్ని ఎక్కువ జాబ్స్ చేంజ్ అయితే అంత ఎక్కువ శాలరీ పెరిగిద్ది అనే మైండ్ సెట్ డెవలప్ అయింది. అది ఎంతవరకు కరెక్ట్? శాలరీ ఆర్గానిక్ గ్రో అవ్వాలంటే ఎట్లా అప్రోచ్ అవ్వాలి?
Jumping companies or moving from one company to another company does not get you a good salary. You may get 5,000 more, 10,000 more, or even 1 lakh more from one company to another company. But this is going to be just 1 or 2 jobs. The second thing is, that's the most important point. As an HR person, let's say Srilata has jumped 3 years, 3 jobs. The 4th job, and that itself is a surprise, because 3 years, 3 jobs, getting a job in 3 years itself is a big surprise. The reason I say that is, as an HR person, even if within 2 years, Srilata has jumped 2 companies, the 3rd company when I'm interviewing, let's say Ramakrishna, I will not even interview him. The reason is there's no stability. In 3 years, if he's changed 3 jobs, then absolutely no stability. So the company does not want to invest resources, time, money on a particular candidate. So it's very important to have stability. And what is stability? Minimum of 3 or 3.5 years in one company, minimum. This is so very important for all the young professionals who are coming from college. They think that if I work in one company and move into another company within 6 months, 10 months, I will get a better job. You will get a small raise. Let's say you're drawing 3 lakhs, you will get a 3,25,000, that's all. That itself is a big thing. And over the period of time, Ramakrishna, who has not jumped in 3 years, 3 companies, he may not get 25,000 rupees more every year. He may get only 10% more because of the increments or because of the not so good increments. But in the next 5 or 7 years, he'll be drawing 8 lakhs, whereas this person will be drawing from 4.5, 5 lakhs. The stability, please understand that, jumping jobs every year or every 6 months or less than that will get you a better salary. It will not. Second is, from an HR perspective, from a company's perspective, you will not even be coming to the recruitment level. I will see your CV as going through your CV, screening the process. I will see your CV, read your CV, saying, okay, you've jumped 3 jobs in 3 years. I will not even invite you to the company for recruitment. And this is not one company, every company does this. So stability is important. Money is definitely important. Money is not so important that you jump a job every year. The third is, if you're jumping a job within 6 months or within a year, what is the learning that you have got? You have not learned anything at all. So it is a wrong notion that employees or that students have that if I jump within 6 months, within 1 year, I get a better salary. No, you don't get.
సో స్టెబిలిటీ ఈజ్ మోర్.
Absolutely.
దీని తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ చూసుకుంటే ఆన్సైట్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ అనేది ప్రతి వాళ్ళకి ప్యాషన్. సో ఎక్కువ మంది కోరుకుంటారు ఫస్ట్ ఎలాగో మనం ఆన్సైట్ వెళ్తే ఆ తర్వాత మనం H1B తెచ్చుకుంటే దాని తర్వాత కెరియర్ ట్రాన్స్ఫార్మ్ అయ్యిద్ది అన్న ఐడియాతో ఉంటారు. సో H1Bకి దగ్గర అవ్వాలి అంటే ఏం చేయాలి?
I spoke about this point earlier. What Ramakrishna says is, what are the on-site opportunities that you will get, or what I will get as a technical person? Please understand that only most of the companies give opportunities for technical employees. When I say technical, it can be anything, SAP, data science, etc. The support functions, which is HR, admin, finance, etc., do not get so many opportunities to travel abroad. They do get opportunities, but not as much. For the technical team, for the technical students, I would say that you build your skills, constantly upskill, constantly reskill, do your job to the best of the abilities. You will get opportunities not just on site, but everywhere else also. If you're not getting any on-site opportunities, that doesn't mean you're not a good employee. That means that particular project or technology, more than the project, technology is more relevant for me to get on-site opportunities. So does that mean that I'm working in Java? Should I jump into SAP? Should I jump into data science? You understand, if you want to jump into data science or cloud computing, which you think is the niche technology, and that's why my colleagues or my peers are able to travel abroad, please understand that jumping technologies is not going to help. Understand what you want to do. What are your core strengths? If my core strengths are matching Java and then jumping to cloud science or cloud computing doesn't make sense. What are my core strengths? Build on your core strengths. And even Java and .NET, etc., has plethora of opportunities for you to travel abroad. One point, or the most important point, what you should have in mind is not traveling abroad, but learning and upskilling and being the best in your team. Then you don't have to get on-site opportunities. If you're earning some, let's say 3 crores as a vice president, you don't need the company to get you to travel abroad. You can travel abroad 10 times in a year. But having said that, yes, if you're doing so well, the companies will give you enough and more opportunities for you to travel abroad.
సో కెరియర్ బెస్ట్ ఎలా బిగిన్ చేయాలి దగ్గర నుంచి H1B వీసాల వరకు డిఫరెంట్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ మనం మాట్లాడుకున్నాం. డిఫరెంట్ స్టేజెస్లో ఎదురయ్యే డిఫరెంట్ సిచ్యువేషన్స్ గురించి డిస్కస్ చేసాం. మీ ప్రొఫెషనల్ జర్నీలో వీటన్నిటిలో ఎన్నో ఛాలెంజెస్ ఎదురై ఉంటాయి. వాటిల్లో మీకు బాగా మంచి ఛాలెంజ్ని మీరు ఈజీగా సాల్వ్ చేసిన ఛాలెంజ్ ఏదైనా ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇవ్వండి.
I've had many challenges in terms of teams, managing teams, my own growth, managing my own personal life, health issues, etc. The health issues and things like that, my mother and my sister have been my huge role model. They've always, especially my mother has been such a very strong woman. My sister has been an extremely strong woman. They are my core strengths, so to speak. That when I look back at life and I say, oh my God, I've had such an problem, I look at them as they've had even bigger problems and they've just breezed through. And they have not sat and cried saying, why me? So that is one thing I've learned from my sister. Don't say, why me? There can be enough and more challenges, but that how you deal with those challenges is much more important. And that is your core strength. That's the way, that's the personality and persona that's going to become of you. So everybody is going to have some challenges. I could have health, somebody else can be finance, somebody else can be parents getting old, etc., etc. But it's what are the problems, whatever you're having, it's how you deal with it, how you cope with it, and how you ensure that it doesn't get the better of you. The second aspect is when I'm having a team challenge, let's say my own team members are not cooperating, or one day they're coming into work, some second day they're coming in half an hour late, the third day somebody else is having stomach ache and sitting at home. So to talk to them as a friend and not as a manager, talk to them as a friend and find out what's the issue. Is it some problem with me? You can always ask your team saying, what is the problem that you're having with me? The minute you ask that, saying, okay, are you having a problem with me? Sort it out. Tell me what is your problem. We can sort it out together. Then half your battle is won. Second is, if you're having a problem with your manager, again, speak to him, sit with him, speak to him, find out what's the issues. Sometimes, things are out of control. That's where your capability as an individual and capability as your own core strength has to come into the play. Bank on your core strength, develop your skills, speak to your managers, try to understand what is the problem with you yourself, and tell them, yes, I have these problems, how do I cope with it? When you speak to your manager or reporting manager or your senior, you're saying, these are my problems, these are my issues. It could be like, your mother's not well and hence you're not able to come to work every day on time, you're coming in 1 hour late. Instead of saying every day I'm coming 1 hour late, tell your manager that's saying my mother's unwell, I have to take care of her. So give me permission for next 3-4 days that I will come 1 hour late. Once you inform him, your manager is definitely going to cooperate. So some of the challenges are very well within our limits. Some of them are out of scope, out of limits, but that's where you have to bank on your core strength and speak to your manager saying what is the problem and please give me some time. So that is how you cope with challenges.
సమ్టైమ్స్ మంచి ప్రెస్టీజియస్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ మిడిల్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రాజెక్ట్లో కానీ డెలివరీ టైంలో కానీ కీ రిసోర్సెస్ రిజైన్ చేసే అవకాశాలు ఉంటాయి వాళ్ళకున్న ఆపర్చునిటీస్ని బట్టి. సో అది వాళ్ళు లేకపోయినా ప్రాజెక్ట్ నడవచ్చేమో కానీ లీడర్షిప్ రోల్స్లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి కొంచెం ఛాలెంజింగ్గా కొంచెం భయంగా ఉండే అవకాశం ఉండేది. ఆ టైంలో హెచ్ఆర్ మీద ఎక్కువ ప్రెషర్ పడింది, ఏదర్ వాళ్ళని కంటిన్యూ చేయడానికి కావాల్సిన అరేంజ్మెంట్స్ చేయటంలో కానీ లేదా అదర్ రిసోర్స్ని రిక్రూట్ చేయటంలో కానీ. సో అలాంటి సిచ్యువేషన్స్ ఏమైనా ఎదురైనాయా?
Ramakrishna, most of the companies today have notice period. It can be ranging from 1 month to 3 months. So if an employee wants to resign, he has to serve the notice period. So let's say suddenly that I've got a job, I've got a better job and I'm working in ABC company, I've got a better job in, let's say, Microsoft, IBM, whatever. I want to resign immediately. So the company will not allow you to resign. They have to serve a notice period. Second is, if the employee wants to resign and if they're not working on a crucial project, then probably depending on the company policies and depending on the interaction with your own reporting manager, you will be relieved immediately. But if you're working on a crucial project and obviously if you're not, when you're working on a crucial project, you're not a junior employee or at least a manager level or a senior executive level. So the responsibility of the completing of the project is both on the employee or the team member and the manager. Very few times that some of the employees don't have this maturity and they kind of don't even tell the manager, they abscond. So in such a situation, there's always, if the project requires 3 or 4 people, they take in 5 or 6 people working on the project. So these 2 additional people can finish the job. In very, very, very rare situations that the project will come to a standstill, will not happen because the project manager will also pitch in. They will be asked to work long hours. Supposing, let's say, Srilata is working in a team and Srilata suddenly decides to stop working, abscond. So will the project fall? Will the project come to a crashing stall? No, it will not. Let's say Ramakrishna is my manager, he will also pitch in and the rest of the team will be required to work longer hours. They may not be working only for 7 or 8 hours, or they will be required to work for a longer hours and finish the project within time. The second is, in case for logical reasons, probably the employee is suddenly absconded or they're not able to finish the project within the stipulated time because of various other aspects, we can speak to the client and inform him of the problems that the team is facing and request for some more time. If the project is supposed to finish in 2 months' time, request for an additional 1 month or 15 days and complete.
So you can easily solve these kind of situations.
Absolutely. Very rarely, I don't even think it's less than 1% that the company's projects will come to a crashing halt. No, it will not. Or the we are losing those projects. It does not happen at all. One more point, that in case that the employee is absconding and there are no additional resources to complete the project, they take in contract staff or they take in temporary staff for that 1 month, 2 months and finish the project. So there are almost zero chances where I've almost working in on a project for 3 months, 6 months, and the project is getting lost or the project is coming to a standstill. That will not happen at all.
సో దీని తర్వాత మేనేజ్మెంట్ ఆల్వేస్ వాంట్ రిసోర్సెస్ ఫర్ ద బెస్ట్ ప్రైస్, ఫర్ ద బెస్ట్ శాలరీ. ఎంప్లాయీ ఆల్వేస్ లుక్స్ ఫర్ ద బెస్ట్ ప్యాకేజ్. So how do you manage? What kind of negotiation skills you tried for the best resources? Tell in the both dimensions. Suppose if I as a employee want to get a best package, what should I follow? If I as a manager, HR manager want best resources, so what kind of negotiation skills should I develop?
This is a really interesting question and a tricky question. The interesting part is most of the companies, medium level companies and the big level companies, including the SMEs, maybe not so much structured, but most of the companies have a very structured salary slab. Now, what do I mean by salary slab is right from the executive level to the vice president level, there is a salary slab. For let's say, for example, junior staff 0 to 2 years experience, they have a salary slab of let's say 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs. I'm just giving an example over here. So in this 2 lakhs, 3 years, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, you have a salary slab right to the vice president level at 20, 25 years of experience. So in this salary slab of 2 years experience, 0 to 2 years, you will get 3 lakhs salary. 1 year experience will get 3.5, 2 years experience will get 4 lakhs. So that is fixed by the companies. 99% of the time, unless I find an extremely good candidate and the salary slab is what the candidate wants is beyond the salary slab, I will take a call on a one-to-one basis, on a case-to-case basis. But more or less 99% of the time, the salary slabs are fixed and the company's requirements in terms of needing another candidate should fit into the salary slabs, irrespective of which designation, which technology, etc. Now, I may as a candidate, let's say I have 7 years experience, 10 years experience, I want 1 crore as my salary. But you should be realistic. Are your skills matching your expectation of your salary? Are your experience matching your expectation of your salary? Or your experience matching your expectation of your salary? If I'm having 5 years experience and I'm saying I want 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs as my salary, you're being unrealistic. And that's not going to happen. Even if you're from IIT IIM, unless you're a really good student, you start off your career as 25 lakhs, 40 lakhs. If you're from an engineering college, which is a local college, and expecting 40, 50 lakhs within 3 years, it's not going to happen. So be realistic in your expectation. I'm not saying you will not earn the 40, 50 lakhs, but it will take a longer period than just 3 years' time. So it will take a certain amount of time for you to earn that kind of designation and your salary. So you should understand what the company is requiring, what your skill sets are, what your experience are, what is your knowledge of that particular job, and have your realistic expectations in terms of your salary.
So when we know the real things, realistic approach, then definitely we are no need to worry much about the packages.
Absolutely.
Packages will be as per the standards.
Absolutely. I'll add one more point is there may be, let's say with 5 years experience, this company wants to give 7 lakhs. My expectation is 8 lakhs. It's okay. And if you're wanting, let's say it's Microsoft. Microsoft is giving you a job for your experience, 5 years experience or 6 years experience. They're wanting to give you a job, a good role, but the salary is 7 lakhs, but your expectation is 8 lakhs because your current salary is 7 lakhs. You want to grow into another 1 lakh more at least, but you're working in a medium level company. Your expectation or your want is to grow into the Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. If that is your requirement, your expectation, I would say cut down on that 1 lakh. 1 lakh is a large amount, I am not denying it, but 1 lakh is lesser important than your career growth. Your career growth in Microsoft, even if you're starting at the same level, that is 7 lakhs, your growth potential is much more higher in the next few years. That is also another point which you need to keep in mind.
సో నెక్స్ట్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్, అంటే ఎక్కువ మంది స్టూడెంట్స్ ఎదురు చూసే ఆన్సర్స్. కొంతమందికి ఫ్రెషర్గా ఇమీడియట్ జాబ్ రాదు, 2-3 years గ్యాప్ వచ్చింది రకరకాల కారణాల వల్ల. వాళ్ళు ఆగిపోవటం వల్ల, లేదంటే ఎగ్జామ్స్లో ఫెయిల్ అవటం వల్ల, లేదంటే ఇమీడియట్గా ట్రైనింగ్ తీసుకోకుండా దానికి కావాల్సిన నాలెడ్జ్ పెంచుకోకుండా వెయిట్ చేయటం వల్ల, ఏదైనా కారణాలు 2-3 years గ్యాప్ వచ్చింది. ఈ గ్యాప్ని ఎలా ఆన్సర్ చేయాలో తెలియక ఏదైనా ఫేక్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి ఫేక్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ తీసుకొని ప్రజెంట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు. సో ఇన్ జనరల్గా కూడా నాకు ఈ 2-3 years జాబ్ రాలేదు, నేను ఇప్పుడు ఫ్రెష్గా అప్లై చేస్తున్నా అంటే కూడా కన్సిడరేషన్కి పాసిబిలిటీస్ తక్కువ. సో ఇలాంటి కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ సిచ్యువేషన్లో మీరైతే ఏం సజెస్ట్ చేస్తారు?
Wonderful question. I keep telling this to all my students, irrespective of which company, which college I'm teaching. It's very important as a student to get good marks in your college. What is good marks? Gone are the days where 60%, that is first class, was amazing. In our 10th class, Ramakrishna knew me, will agree that if we got 65%, our parents would give sweets, etc. Today, 65% is very, it's almost like second class. While it is considered as first class, 65% is nothing. So the expectation of you as a student for yourself, I'm not even saying, what companies expect, what college expects, for you yourself, anything less than 85 is not a good score, a good marks. So 85 and above is good. So you should aim to get good percentage in your college. Second is, this is the most important aspect which I want every student to pay attention to, is sometimes even if you're a good student, even if you're getting 85-90%, you're not able to clear interviews because your expectation of a salary, of a role, of a company is very high. It's okay if you're working in small companies. Let's say you're 70% of your student classmates are getting IBM, Microsoft, Convergys, etc., and you're getting some small companies. Take up the job because your knowledge and experience will grow in the next 1 year, 2 years. If you're having a gap, like Ramakrishna mentioned, most of the recruitment companies, HR departments, companies will not even recruit you. Why? Because you're having a gap. So my question to prospective candidate, so Ramakrishna, you had 2 years gap in your CV. What have you done? If you're saying you've been watching TV, you're watching Netflix, I will not even continue the interview. So that is a complete no-no. If your classmates are getting 50,000 as their salary and you're getting 20,000 as your salary, take it up. Take up the job. Your experience and what you learn in the next 2 years is so much more important than sitting at home and watching some dumb TV or Netflix or something. Because even if you've got yourself trained, let's say you've gone to, like Ramakrishna mentioned, is even if you've gone to training institutes, got yourself trained, how long is the training going to be? 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? After that, what? So if you're having this gap, and is the training a complete day, or is it just going to be 2 hours of training? If it's going to be 2 hours of training and you're having a gap of 2 years, it's not a good sign at all. So it is very important to not get stuck in your head with the salary. Let's say 80% of your friends, of your classmates are getting 5 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 3 lakhs, you're getting only 20,000. 20,000 is 2 lakhs 40,000. It's okay, it's perfectly all right to get into a lower company, smaller company with a lower salary, but don't have the gap. If the minute you have even a 6-month gap, I'm going to ask you 10,000 questions as saying why the gap, why didn't you do this, why didn't you do that? So those questions will ensure that your gap is getting longer and longer. Then out of frustration, you're going to get a job you're going to take up a job which is not even paying you 20,000, which is going to pay you 5 or 10,000. And therein the frustration continues for the rest of your life. So which is definitely not a good sign. The frustration will lead to health problems, to your mental sickness, mental wellness. You're going to get frustrated with your family. Tomorrow you'll get married, you will get frustrated with your wife, and that will continue. So it is not important. You may start earning 20,000 today, but if you're doing a fantastic job, taking a lot of initiatives, you will grow to 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs within no time. And I think all students need to take this point into account and remember this for the rest of their life.
So wonderful suggestion, yes, sir. It is better to take the opportunity, whatever the salary.
Take a small company, small salary, it's okay. You take up the opportunity.
సో నెక్స్ట్ చూసుకుంటే చాలామంది నాన్ ఐటీ నుంచి ఐటీకి ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి ఎంకరేజ్ చేస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి చాలామంది ట్రై చేస్తున్నారు, చాలామందికి మంచి మంచి జాబ్స్ కూడా వస్తున్నాయి. కానీ అక్కడ కూడా ఒక చిన్న కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ ఉంది. నాన్ ఐటీ టు నేను ఐటీ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్లో నేర్చుకొని మీ దగ్గరికి వచ్చి అప్లై చేస్తున్నాను అంటే కన్సిడర్ చేసే ఛాన్సెస్ ఎంతవరకు ఉన్నాయి? అక్కడ కూడా కొన్ని ఫేక్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ తీసుకొని అక్కడ కూడా జాయిన్ అవుతున్నారు. సో అక్కడ మీరు ఎలా సజెస్ట్ చేస్తారు? ఏది బెటర్ ఆప్షన్?
రామకృష్ణ, మీరు క్వశ్చన్ ఈ ఫేక్ క్వశ్చన్ ముందు కూడా అడిగారు. ది మోస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్ ఎవ్రీ స్టూడెంట్, every employee should remember is not to fake anything. Do not fake your experience, do not fake your education, do not fake your marks, do not fake your salaries, do not fake anything on CV. Because even if you clear your interviews, we are going to do, every company does background verification. Background verification they're doing of education, experience, address and criminal verification. So 90% of the companies are doing all background verification because there are so many fake CVs that's floating around. So when they do the background verification, it's very easy for us to understand whether you have faked your certificates, whether you faked your experience or your college marks, everything. So there you don't get a job. Even if you are working in a company, Ramakrishna, once they finish their background verification, let's say Srilata has joined a company. After 1 month, you do the background verification. After 1 month, I'm asked to leave. So please, I request you not to suggest, advise all your students and your young professionals not to fake anything on the CV. The second is, when you're not faking on the CV, even if it's small companies, please join, like I mentioned before. The third question that you asked is
from non-IT to IT.
Yes, from non-IT to IT, and you should understand as to why you want to move from, let's say, HR to IT. Why do you want to move? Is it money? Is it on-site opportunities? Or is it that you have developed a keen interest on moving into IT and have got or done enough training or got trained for various things? You should understand as to what is your reason for moving from non-IT to IT. If you're moving from non-IT to IT, there are companies which allow you to move laterally. What is lateral? Let's say I'm HR, I'm working in the HR department, I'm an assistant manager. You can either join as an assistant manager within the company in an IT role, SAP HR, SAP FICO, SAP MM, etc. Even the marketing people can move into SAP and things like that. But is the reason for you should understand as to the three aspects like I mentioned. Is it because your peers are in the IT department traveling abroad very often? Is it the money? Is it your interest? Is it what you want your career to develop into IT? Then I will go back one step and I'll say, why did you do an HR MBA? Why did you do MBA specializing in HR? Or why did you do SAP, why did you do an MBA specializing in finance? So there are times when I've got this answer saying my family pressure, peer pressure, society pressure, etc. There are times when this family pressure, more than society pressure and peer pressure, I think it's family pressure, which you as a young student, young child, may not be able to tell your parents that this is what I want to do. If that is the reason, you should understand as to what could be the movement. So there are times where companies will allow you to move laterally, but the salary may be lesser, the designation may be lesser. You may be an assistant manager in HR, but you will be joining as a junior programmer in when you move into an IT department. So are you okay with that? Second is, there are companies which allow you to move laterally. So I've been working in HR, I can move into SAP HR. But are you, then the question again you may say is, I work for 1 year, I will get an opportunity on site. It may not happen. It will take you 5-6 years to work in SAP HR to go on site. So please understand as to what is your reason to move into IT. Second point is, are non-IT employees given an opportunity to move into IT? Yes, they are, but it's not so frequent.
So clearly explained about how to move from non-IT to IT. So coming back to your journey, so till now you may achieved many awards or many things in your life. So what do you say like your achievements out of your professional journey?
Achievements in my professional career, I've got appreciation from my managers, from my CEOs, etc. But personally, I have always learned as to how I can improve my own self. Improve myself both professionally and personally. So there are times when, personally there are so many things we are constantly improving upon. Time management, how I deal with my own conflicts, how I deal with my own emotions. If I'm a person who's getting angry very easily, how I need to control my anger, how I need to develop my skills related to my corporate requirements or my professional career, how I need to improve myself from yesterday. All these things are extremely important. What is also very important is build your skills. It can be related to your career, it may not be related to your career. Like I initially started in the beginning of the interview, I said, last 13 years, I've been working for 24 years. Last 13 years, I've been teaching. So the teaching aspect came in much later. I've also been writing poetry for the last 5 years. So my writing poetry does not even give me 1 rupee, but it gives me a lot of happiness. It gives me a lot of creative aspects. So build those skills, and those skills will help you develop in your career as well. There are so many things, other things that I do. I do content writing, I conduct workshops on soft skills, I teach HR, I have other interests. So also you must understand as students, there's a difference between passion and hobbies. Hobbies is something which let's say I'm painting. I paint once in 6 months, and this next 6 months I don't do anything. So that is a hobby. But passion is something which will drive you to do daily or almost daily. I'll give you an example, Ramakrishna, over here, that there are times when I've slept only for 4 hours, 4.5 hours, because the previous night I'm sitting and preparing for the next day's class. Plus, I have the previous day or this particular day, on this day, I've had the whole day to work. The night I sit and prepare for the next day's class. The next day class starts at 10 o'clock. So I have to leave by at least by 8:39 to commute to the class, because traffic is crazy today. So I've slept only for 4.5 hours. I have my own household chores to take care of, and I finish everything, prepare for my class, go to the class. When I'm entering the class, I'm so tired. But when I enter the class, I'm full of life. So that is passion. I've been writing poetry, at least one poem I write every month. So that is another passion. So develop interest. It can be an interest initially, but it should become your passion. So it can be anything, baking, sketching, writing poetry, writing per se, learning to dance, learning to sing. And you don't have to say, I'm not 15-year-old, I'm 25, 30-year-old. It's okay, you can start from the beginning. I've started my writing poetry just 5 years back. So develop those interests, develop those passion. It's going to help you so much in your professional career.
So more than anything, you are enjoying your life, every moment of your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Apart from these, I also do tango painting, I do block printing, I do tie and dye, I do pottery, and I have an adventure side to me. I have done paragliding, I've done Tarzan swing, I've done zip lining. I want to do so much more.
So what are your future plans? Like, what are your dreams at this point of time?
Future plans are plenty. I definitely want to do bungee jumping, do scuba diving, do snorkeling. Professional career, I want to grow in my professional career, not just in terms of designation, but learn so much more about the HR aspects as to how to develop companies, how to learn many more things. Like I said, I'm doing tango painting, etc. I want to learn stained glass painting. I'm learning Sanskrit now, so I want to finish my Sanskrit learning. I'm learning shlokas also now. So there's lots of things that I want to do and continue learning for the rest of my life.
Very soon you will fulfill all your dreams.
Thank you so much.
And you will experience all the things which are in balance in very, very, very near future. So thank you very much for giving us the detailed interview about the whole HR things. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you and talking to ITTV.